Hey everyone, this is PrinceBrightstar, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood. So today, we're taking a look at the new patch 4.2.5 content, specifically Eureka. So this will be a little bit of a shorter stream here today, but I did at least want to make sure I covered this here. This is something that we've been waiting for quite a while now here. The quest giver is over here in Rhalgr's Reach, Galliena, and basically, the idea is this is supposed to be the new way of getting a relic weapon, and apparently armor as well in the game. Essentially, it's an area where you can go to and just work towards getting something that's going to be really powerful in the end. A Realm Reborn had it, Heaven's Word had it as well, and this is essentially the new version of it. And it's supposed to be different from how it came in the past, whereby you would basically go through dungeons, you'd have to get a bunch of tomestones, and in the end do a bunch of what's called light farming. So let's see how this turns out here. PrinceBrightstar of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, if I'm not mistaken. Very good. I have a message for you from Aunt Rowena. Well, it's more of a request, I suppose, though I don't have any details of consequence. She'd like you to assist with the exploration of a recently discovered island. Surely you'd be interested in that sort of a thing, being an adventurer? If you are, then you should head to Kugane and see Kotokaze, the proprietress of the Shiokaze hostelry. It's a long way to go, I know, but the island's out that way anyway, so... Alright, so let's go ahead and teleport over to Kugane. Alright, and it should be over here. Looks like it's a rainy one in here today. Alright, here we are. I see you decided to accept the invitation of the House of Splendors. Rowena will be pleased. Come, I will show you to your table. It's good to see a familiar face in these parts, particularly that of the man who might well be my most valued customer. I gather you were not expecting Kryl or myself to be attending this little tete-a-tete. As you will see, however, this is a matter which concerns us all. It all began when a vessel of the East Aldenard Trading Company happened upon an island in the Glass Ocean, a deserted island which was not recorded on our charts and quite frankly had no business being there. Suffice it to say, we were surprised. Pleasantly so, in fact. An unclaimed, undeveloped island in such a location would be a boon to our trading concerns in this corner of the world. Kugane is bleeding us both dry with its tariffs. Depending on the goods, we're paying more than 10 times what we'd owe in Limsa or Ul'dah, which is already too damn much, believe you me. What my dear Rowena is trying to say is that having an additional port of call in this region, one more amenable to free trade, would be in the best interests of a great many parties. Which is why, upon learning of this island, I immediately authorized an exploratory expedition. The team was large and well-funded. I spared no expense. Alas, only a handful returned. The survivors reported irregularities with the island's aether, which we believe gave rise to a number of strange and monstrous beasts. Beasts which set upon them not long after they arrived. This regrettable turn of events forced us to reevaluate our assessment of the island and put our plans on hold for a time. If development was to proceed, it would require a great deal more capital than originally anticipated. So he came to me and mine for a handout, and I obliged. But before you scoff, know that some of my regular customers were members of that failed expedition, and what they told me was enough to justify the expense. Tales of treasure, of untold wealth, and riches and gods, know what else. Aye, we'll have to wade through all them beasties, but with great risk comes great reward, as they say. Spoken like a born entrepreneur. Your ambition and ruthlessness are admirable, my lady. I dare say I could stand to learn a thing or two from you. In any event, having formed our partnership, we wish to dispatch a second joint expeditionary force to the island. Let's say, if we were to send just anyone, their fate is like to be the same as that of the first. So this time, we've a mind to send a dab hand, a veteran of 1,000 battles, a tried-and-true killer. You see where I'm going with this? While I lack your aptitude for warcraft, I will be joining the expedition as a researcher. The Scions have an interest in this island. How perceptive of you. You are right, this is not the sort of affair that would normally concern us. However, after speaking with the others, they have consented to my participation on account of my personal interest. You will forgive me if I say no more at this time. If my suspicions are proved true, then I will tell you everything, I promise. Right then, I believe that covers everything. The company ship that will deliver you to the island is waiting to receive you. You may proceed to the pier whenever you are ready to depart. Oh, and so you're not surprised, you'll have company. A craftsman who help I reckon we ought to have. He should be at the pier already. Rowena and I still have a few things to discuss, so why don't you go on ahead? I'll catch up to you later. Alrighty, so let's see where we need to head to. Looks like we need to head to the south. Down all the way over there. Okay, so that's going to take us over to the pier. So let's hop into the Aetheryte. Over to Pier 1. Looks pretty busy here. That looks like Geralt. And no matter how many times you say it, you whiny little shite, I ain't about to let a bloody stranger waltz up and deign to tell me which way my bread is buttered. Now piss off. Does your Eorzean stubbornness know no end? I have urgent business on that island, and I demand you take me there at once. I could hear the shouting half a mile away. Geralt, what is all the fuss about? Oh, Miss Cryle. Sorry about that. It's this here bastard what causing trouble. Eureka, what are you doing here? Did you really think I wouldn't find out about your letter? The nerve of you, trying to get a head start on your own. Well, sorry to spoil your plans. Don't be difficult. I had every intention of requesting your assistance if and when I confirmed my hypothesis was correct. Forgive me, you must be completely at a loss. This gentleman on the right is... Wait, you already know each other, do you not? Well, as you may have guessed, Geralt will be lending his considerable expertise to our expedition. He's actually the guy that forged the relic weapons, so it's good to see they're bringing him back again. And on the left, we have Eureka Sinjika of the students of Baldesion, and you must be the so-called Warrior of Light. Charmed, I'm sure. I thank you not to get underfoot. Manners, Eureka. If you intend to accompany us on this expedition... Of course I do. If you think I'm about to let a by-the-book traditionalist like you conduct an independent investigation, you've got another thing coming. Okay, I thought that was an error, or I thought it was thing, but it's actually think there. I can't tell if that's actually a translation goof or if that was actually intended, the way she's talking. I should be glad to welcome the assistance of a preeminent scholar such as yourself. Now, if you would be so kind as to stop badgering poor Geralt and board the ship, we can get underway. Eureka is one of the few surviving students of Baldesion. While his expertise in aetherology is impressive by any measure, alas, so is his ego. And alas, I still can't tell the difference between male and female potatoes. But enough about him. We have an island to explore. If you've no matters left to attend to, speak with Rodney. He will show you aboard. Hi, Thancred! It occurs to me that no one bothered to tell you the name of the island we mean to explore, am I correct? It's a bit grandiose and melodramatic, but we've tentatively named it for a place from Allegan legend. A forbidden land where fearsome weapons were hidden away for safekeeping. We call it Eureka. So, Eureka was actually a place in Final Fantasy III, which, yes, definitely, that was a place where you could obtain different pieces of gear. Alright, Eureka Animos now accessible. You now have access to the Forbidden Land Eureka Animos. Animos can be explored in parties of up to 8 players or solo. To embark on your journey to Animos, speak with Rodney at Pier 1 in Kugane. Please be advised that all excursions into the Forbidden Land, Eureka, are item level synced. For Animos, gear exceeding an item level of 300 will be adjusted. While exploring Animos, you will have the opportunity to create Eureka gear and weapons. If you wish to do so, it would be prudent to acquire level 70 antiquated items in advance. So, antiquated items, what they're talking about there is basically the item, the gear set that you get when you hit level 70 and you complete your job quests. Should you wish to know more about Eureka Animos and what it has to offer, you may speak with Rodney for further details. Alright, so now we have to locate Rodney in this mess here. Just because basically everybody is trying to get in. Here they are. I can see their names. Problem is finding... Here we go. Yeah, everybody's just crowding around him. Let's ask for more information first. To be clear, it's not actually the Eureka of Alakan legend, the underground labyrinth in which someone saw fit to squirrel away weapons of unfathomable power. We just thought the name was fitting for this unexplored island. The Forbidden Land of Eureka is a mysterious and deadly island where the elemental forces are constantly in flux. It may be... yeah, we just learned that. Adventurers who choose to brave the wilds of Eureka will find that their strength there is measured in their elemental level. Moreover, all equipped items will be subject to item level sync. Unlike instance duties, a given region within Eureka may be occupied by up to 144 players, with whom you may choose to cooperate if you so desire. Alright. Honestly, let's just jump into this thing here. There are probably gonna be tutorials as we go. Alrighty, here we go. Alright, here we are. So, looks like Cryo will serve as a way to teleport back here. Or is this actually a quest here? I knew it. I knew it. From the moment we arrived, despite everything that has happened here, there can be no mistake. I hate to admit it, but you had the right of it. I said I would tell you everything if my suspicions proved true, and so I will. The reason I urged the Scions to approve my participation in this expedition is because this island is the Isle of Val. The selfsame isle that once served as the headquarters and home of the students of Valdesian. An island that belongs on the other side of the world, that was obliterated by a terrible magic. I was fortunate to have been elsewhere at the time, but I know you were not so lucky. I don't suppose you have any ideas how it could have ended up here in the Glass Ocean. Alas, my memories of the incident are muddled. All I recall is a voice, that of the star, I suspect. Faint and fleeting, but warm, and then I awoke on the shore of Old Charlian. How convenient for you, and utterly unhelpful for the rest of us. Would that more than Galuf's chosen heir could have received this blessing of light. Galuf being one of the heroes that appeared in Final Fantasy V, there are certain story elements about them that I'm not going to speak of here. But this is essentially Galuf's granddaughter. And where are you off to now, Eureka? To find anyone else that might still be alive. I'll thank you not to follow. I work better alone. Cutting us loose now that you got what you wanted? I'll allow that I've yet to repay you for bringing me to this island. Let no one here say I am ungrateful. I heard it enough from Galuf. A proposal, then. Should I learn anything of significance, I will return here and share it with the rest of you. Does that satisfy Cryo? He's a handful, I know. You needn't worry about me. I am more than capable of defending myself. So, we have a mystery on our hands. Somehow the Isle of Val was transported from one corner of the world to this one. Eureka is right in that our first priority should be to confirm whether or not any of our comrades that were here are still alive. If someone is, then perhaps they will be able to help us understand what happened. I appreciate your help more than you know. But before you begin in earnest, it is important that you are properly prepared. The stories you heard about the creatures that roam these lands were not exaggerations, and I would not see you struck down due to carelessness. Geralt has been working on something that will be of use to you. Why don't you go and see if it's ready? I have various measurements to take in the meantime. Come and find me if you wish to speak later. Alright, let us first tap into this Aethernet shard. You have attuned yourself to an Aethernet shard and now have access to the island's Aethernet. Additional shards can be found throughout the Forbidden Lands Eureka. Attune to them to facilitate faster travel throughout the island. Alright, here's Geralt. Got ourselves dragged into a fine mess, aye? Rowena's still wielding that tavern debt of mine like a chef's knife, taking up pawns of flesh here and there. Wait, don't tell me she got her hooks in you too. Ah, well, it's no business of mine. We're here, and we may as well make the most of it. Much as you can make of being stuck on the godforsaken island, where the very elements are your enemy, and the only living creatures want nothing more than to make you dead. You've probably heard from the others about how the beasties here have been bathed in the twisted aether of this place and are somehow stronger for it. Don't know about all that, but I do know that if you walked out the gates and let one take a swing at you, you'd feel it in more ways than one. Not only can they rend flesh and break bones, but they can also disrupt your very aether. So if you're intended to go toe-to-toe with one, you'll need a way to improve your ability to endure said beastie's attacks. Rather, your ability to defend against attacks of a given elemental aspect. Goes without saying the same principle applies if you want to hit the beasties back harder, aye? Any road to that end, Kryl and I have been working on a solution. A magic contraption you can use to manipulate your elemental affinities and fight more effectively in Eureka. We call it a magia board. Might take some getting used to, but I'm sure a clever lad like you will manage. But the board alone's not enough, I should say. You need these crystals, or what were they called? Magicite, that was it. Type of crystal found here in Eureka, pure as driven snow, or so I'm told. Lucky for you I got one to spare, brought back by a survivor from the first expedition. Go and take it along with the board. Reckoned you'll find more while you're out and about, so I designed it to take up to 5 in a given configuration. To affix or remove Magicite, you'll need to avail yourself of that there Magia Melder. Shouldn't be too hard, but if you've got questions, direct them to the expedition engineer over yonder. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk to them. Or actually, this is the melder here. The Magia Melder may be used to affix Magicite to or remove it from your Magia board. When you've finished experimenting with it, speak with Kryl to proceed. Alrighty, here we go. So, what this is showing us is basically the 6 elements that we can drop Magicite into. So, you have obtained your very own Magia board. In Eureka, each creature is aspected to a certain element, giving them a distinct advantage in battle. You will need to make judicious use of both the Magia board and Magicite to overcome your foes. Raise your affinity to certain elements by melding Magicite to your Magia board, or spinning the board to change its alignment. A Magia board properly configured to an enemy's ethereal tilt can enhance both offensive and defensive capabilities. Speak to the expedition engineer for further guidance. That's fine. Now, before we do anything here, and we just had this thing pop up, I'll take a look at that in just a moment here. what I want to do... Oh, actually, it looks like I can't even leave this place yet. Alright, let's speak to Kryl, and hopefully that will open things up. While taking preliminary readings, something unusual came to light. The headquarters of the students of Baldessian was situated in a tower, which appears to be encased in a magical barrier. Someone or something seems to have activated our defenses. I can only hope this was the work of survivors. The very possibility is enough to make investigating the tower a priority. The question is, how are we to get there? Barriers notwithstanding, traveling on foot would place us at the mercy of the wilderness. 'Twould be safer to make use of the island's Aethernet. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be in the best of shape at the moment. I'm not entirely sure why, but perhaps we can find a way to put it in good working order. So I have two favors to ask of you. One, attune to every Aethernet shard you find. Any difficulties you experience may help me to get to the root of the problem. And if you can use them without issue, then all the better. Two, if you should come across a protean crystal, I want you to bring it to me. I make this request on behalf of our financiers, to be clear. Which isn't to say that we shouldn't oblige them. We should. They have been quite generous with their support, after all. I am sure you have heard this too many times before, but be careful. These creatures are unlike anything I have ever seen. Do not underestimate them. And remember to attune to every Aethernet shard you find, starting with that one over there if you haven't. Which I already did. You may now purchase items only available for use in the Forbidden Land, Eureka, from the Expedition Provisioner. Alright, and it looks like there's another quest here. Don't forget about that protean crystal. That's the last thing you want to be is in debt to Hancock and Rowena. Alright, so we gotta find one of those first, then. So let's take a look at what this guy has. Alright, so looks like they've got a potion, antidote. Okay, so then... Okay, so this actually offers a regen on your health, rather than just regular, what a regular potion would do, which would be just instant health. The other thing I'll point out is, at this point now, I am a level 1 paladin with 0 out of 1,000 experience, and that's basically what happens once you come into here. This place is designed basically with its own brand new leveling system. And that goes into effect immediately, even though I have all my abilities available. So, let's try to find something we can fight here. Let's try this squib. Except, what we need to do, as mentioned before, we need to take advantage of this magia board. And in order to do that, we're going to need to add magicite to it. And the way we're going to do that, if we take a look at the magia board here, we can see that water is basically what it's going to be fighting with. And in order to defend against that, we would need to put water in. We would need to put magicite into the water slot. But if we want to increase our attack instead, we would put that into lightning. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to head back over and I'm going to finally use that magicite and put that into lightning. So now, if we head back out, let's go ahead and grab one of them. And so now we're basically just attacking here. And so, I'm still going to be using cooldowns and such, but at the same time, we can see that we're doing more damage than the squib is doing to us here. It would probably also help if I put my sword oath on. Okay, and as we can see, that gave us 36 experience out of the 1,000 that we need, and that's not too unsurprising. This area is designed to take a while to complete here, plus the fact you can only go up to level 20 compared to level 70, so they had to spread the experience needs out a little bit thinner than it was with the original leveling process. I just want to make sure I'm away from anything else that might attack here. Now, if I had not put that Magicite in, it could actually be an even match here. But in this case, I got the advantage here. As I level up, I'm sure I'll also get some other advantages here. Now, we also just got this 10% bonus here. And that is basically going into the fact that as you continue to kill enemies of the same type, you're going to continue to get bonuses. And so it's actually beneficial if you're able to keep attacking the same enemy over and over. A lot of this place, from what I was reading, was essentially designed to be very similar to how Final Fantasy XI looked. And while I never really got very far in that game, I do at least remember that part from it. I think the highest level I ever got was level 11 or so, but you have to remember, this was back right when Xylar released, so, and I was playing on a Windows PC at the time. I've gone back to it every now and then, but I never really got very far. I think the last time I actually tried it was like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So I don't know what the game is like these days. I know that at this point the console versions are done for, so you can only complete it now through the PC. There's supposed to be a mobile version coming at some point. But in terms of further expansions and such, that is just, that has essentially ended at this point. And frankly, at this point, this seems to be a patch related very closely to Final Fantasy XI, and not just only this, but also, from what I was hearing, the main character that, or rather the character that, oh, what was his name? I can't even get into the thing here to see. One of the four animal gods that we were fighting last time. The character that they apparently became friends with, supposedly, is from Final Fantasy XI, and so that potentially gives this game a direct link in that sense to Final Fantasy XI, but still no absolute confirmation on that. But it's just interesting to see that. Granted, at the same time, the world of Hydaelyn seems to be just a playground of all the different Final Fantasies that have come in the past, while still having its own kind of game on top of it, essentially. For instance, and when we do get to it, and we are going to get to it eventually, whether it be by my choice or by it's chosen by the viewers in the Discord that I've got, we're going to go into the Alliance raids at some point, and one of those is essentially a direct reference to Final Fantasy III, specifically with the Crystal Tower Alliance raid. Now, I want to get away from this second one that's attacking me here, just because, you know, I don't want to go down. In fact, let me try to heal up a little bit. Actually, that's still doing a good amount of healing there. Maybe I'll be able to handle it okay. Now, one other thing I remember hearing about is this, let's stun that guy. The other thing I remember hearing is, in terms of the leveling progression, you eventually get to a point whereby if you die, you're going to lose experience, and then there's even the possibility of leveling down if you die. And while that's certainly annoying anybody that might end up in that situation, it's not unheard of in games. I'm thinking back to the original Phantasy Star Online on the Blueburst version for PC. If you went down before you hit level 200, you would lose a fairly sizable amount of experience. So it's not unheard of in video games that they would do something like that. And then I think Final Fantasy XI was also the same way. If you happen to die, you would level down. But like I said, I stopped playing so early on in that game that I don't think I ever ran into it, to be honest. Alright, let's keep going here. Alright, so as you can see, I'm only a quarter of the way to level 2 here. I'm going to try to get to level 2 in the next 20 minutes or so here, but that's really going to depend upon how quickly things happen here. I think I've been going for about maybe 5 minutes or so at this point, so there's a chance I could make it. The other thing I will note is that, based on my first impressions, this area is essentially very grindy, especially considering we've only got, you know, the one quest here where they're looking for that crystal at this point. But at the same time, doing relics in general has always been grindy. Like I said, one step of one is you need to complete 10 dungeons in a row using the weapon you're in the process of building. Another is you need to find these crafters that can give you items that you're going to need, or at least that's how it was until the items were put inside of the Grand Company store. Another was basically collecting 1,000 light points. So you need to have the mindset to be able to do this kind of thing. That's the thing I'll note about this particular kind of area in Final Fantasy XIV, and this kind of content specifically. You need to be ready for the grind. No question about it. If you're the kind of person that can't dedicate just a long amount of time towards putting towards a weapon, then this is not going to be for you. That is for certain. And the other thing I know is that the weapons that you can obtain here are not the most powerful that you can obtain. And in fact, after this broadcast, I'm going to be going and handling my expert roulette, because if I open this up, I've got 646 Mendici tomestones stored up, and because I've killed Kefka 7 times now, I've also got a prototype tombstone. The weapon I'll be able to get from 700 of the Mendici and the prototype tombstone is going to give me a weapon that is 10 item levels higher than the maximum that you can obtain here in Eureka. But even though that is the case, just having the weapon, being able to put it on as a glamour, for instance, or if you want to be, you know, constantly working on it, so that you're not having to rush through this whole process when the end of the expansion comes, and this relic weapon becomes the most powerful weapon in the game. It's kind of your choice if you really want to set in for the grind, and that's really only you can make that decision. I did the grind for my anima weapon in Heaven's Word, and it turned out really good right at the end there, like I said, in the final patch leading up to Stormblood, and I was able to use it for quite a while into Stormblood also. And in fact, just to make sure nobody tries to say I didn't do it, oh, where is it? There was a specific, here we go, the anima minion. So you got the anima minion for completing the quest line. Unfortunately, I can't summon it in here, but I would love to be able to, actually. But because it's an instance piece of content, that's just not possible. But that right there does prove that I did do the grind in Heaven's Ward, so I know exactly what I'm getting myself into with this here. And so, with this, I'm also going to be introducing a new type of content on the channel. I know this is a weird place to put it, but I also knew that there wasn't going to be too much I could really talk about here, so I might as well bring this up as well here. In the near future, I'm going to be starting up what are called chill live streams, and the idea is basically, I may not necessarily have my microphone open, but I'll still be streaming and doing things in game, so I can continuously bring you content even when I may not actually be able to speak. And that's typically just something I've unfortunately had to deal with in the location that I am. That there are certain hours that I need to respect. But this will finally give me an opportunity to kind of get past that. I may still be able to open my microphone every now and then just to answer a quick question, and it's not just only that. I mean, there may also be times when, you know, even though we're in the middle of doing a series, I'll still want to do like a one-off session or something like that. That's kind of also what the chill streams are for. It's for basically doing content like this, where I'm just going through what I'm typically doing. And also, you know, inviting people that want to join in on it as well. And that will also include, like, doing my my roulettes and such here in Final Fantasy XIV. Doing one-off things like, say, I've always wanted to try doing a speed run of certain games, or say I wanted to go back to content we previously completed. For instance, even though we're basically done with the main game with Final Fantasy XV now, and we're going through the DLC episodes, there's still a lot of content in that game that I still want to experience. I will note that I have already gone through Piteos, though, so unfortunately that won't be a part of it, but there's still a lot of content in that game, and I just really love it, and I would love to go back after the DLC episodes. That's kind of what the idea of the chill streams are. So it's just an idea I've had for a while, and I've always wanted to give it a try. So it's something that I'll be starting up in the very near future. All right, let's go ahead and heal ourselves. You know, this kind of content also is just talking about Eureka again here. It's basically just if you're looking for something to do to continuously build your character up, like I said, it's not going to be the strongest appear till the end of the expansion, but it's still something to do. I have heard that other people have compared this to the new iteration of the diadem, which was basically content that nobody liked, but I'm really not getting that feel from it. The fact that it's got its own separate leveling process, the fact that it's got the Magia board, and one thing that we haven't covered yet is the fact that you can actually rotate it. So basically right now my elemental that I'm attacking with is lightning, but we can also spin the Magia board like this, and that allows you to then change where the element actually is for how you've got things laid out. And the idea I think they're going for in that is the fact that basically you would only build up 4 elements, and you would spin it depending upon what enemy you need to fight. And then over time you would then over time you would then be able to spin it again. So it's you know, it's yet another it's another feature that they added as part of this piece of content here. Let me just take a quick look at this guy here. Ask about the special stock. Well, in addition to the usual assortment of sundries, the house is proud to offer a selection of items prepared especially for this expedition. No refunds, of course. House policy. Okay, so actually that's just talking about what he has. There's supposed to be somebody that will give you other gear, or maybe it's Geralt that I need to speak to. In case you're curious, we took inspiration from something called an elemental converter, which I'm told was born from the mind of one Sid Garland. Man's got a knack for making the impossible possible, they say, crafting the kind of contraptions that only a genius or a madman would ever conceive. I'd wager he's a little of both, but what do I know? Sides have to swing a hammer. Alright. And let's see what this guy has to say. Don't mind me, I'll only be recording your comings and goings for posterity, and for the benefits of our benefactors. One other thing that I will note is, even though this place has this timer here, your progression does not reset when you leave. That timer is just there by the fact that this is instance constant. And they have to, you know, basically they eventually have to have a way to close it out if nobody's doing anything inside of it. You're the dab hand they summoned, I'm afraid I can't help you at present, still getting my own things in order. Alright, so apparently that's something that will open up eventually. And just for instance, let's say we wanted to switch to something else here real quick. And actually just take a quick look around here. So it looks like we've also got some wolves, but take a look at this. Level 9. I'm only still level 1, despite all the grinding that I did there. So that really is not an option at this time. From what I heard, it does like thousands and thousands of damage to you if you try to do that. But we've got this Animo Sling. Let's go ahead and spin around. Let's see. So they are wind, so I need to set this to ice. And let's go ahead and attack. Alright, so it looks like these guys may actually be offering a little bit more experience than the other guys were. So I'll keep going on these for the moment here. But yeah, those are just kind of like my initial thoughts on this whole area. It's certainly not content that everybody would like. You really need to be in the mindset, like I said, for it. But I've done worse grinds in the past, I can tell you that much right now. Grinds that would... Well, let me put it this way. The kind of grind where you would need to level a character specifically just to give another character a bunch of boxes to open up. That's the kind of grind I'm talking about, and only those that know about what I'm talking about would know what I'm talking about. Some people would call you insane if you tried to do that. But anyway, yeah, this is this is pretty much what Eureka is. Let me heal myself. And that's kind of one of the advantages of coming in as a paladin here, the fact that you can heal yourself. I'm sure you could do that as well with, really with a lot of classes here. Red Mage has its own cure. The one thing that I really haven't done yet here is team up with a group of people, and I'm going to be doing that after this broadcast here. But I can definitely tell that having a bunch of other players with you would certainly speed up the process here. And at the same time, I know they said you could come in solo, and I'm sort of proving that you could do that here. But this kind of content, even in the past, doing the relic and the anima weapon, it was never really a solo adventure. You were going to need other players in order to get your weapon, specifically because you had to go through various dungeons to actually finish the things up and get all the items you needed. Oh hey, a Protean Crystal! Okay, we can take a look at this this next quest here then. Oh, that's right. They, I forgot about that. Once something aggroes onto you, it doesn't let go in this area. So I do actually have to take this guy out before we look at that. Almost done for. I'm curious where this is here. Okay, so apparently there's some kind of enemy over there. Let's see if we can check that out. I don't think there's any danger of me losing any experience if I happen to go down with this target. But this is yet another feature in this area, the Notorious Monster system, whereby basically if you manage to take one of these guys down, you're supposed to get certain rewards with it. Oh, actually, I'm looking at the monsters here, and some of them are actually letting go, so maybe they do actually let go after a certain amount of time. So it looks like all the debuffs that have been applied are preventing me from actually adding my own debuffs here. Oh, I actually went down. Alright. But yeah, that's basically a demonstration of just how powerful these guys are. I'm hoping I at least get some credit for the kill there. Let's see if we can make our way back over. And yeah, that's kind of what I was afraid of, the fact that now that everybody else has kind of run through, I'm going to have to kind of try to dodge things as best I can here. Okay, so we did actually get some experience from that. Okay, so 144. Why don't we go ahead and just level up real quick here? See if we actually get any experience from the quest over here. Went beyond the walls, did you? Find any protean crystals? Yes, this should suffice for our purposes. So tell me, have you gotten used to fighting the denizens of this island? More or less, aye. Haha, I should have expected nothing less from the Warrior of Light. I'm trying to discern the reason for the Aethernet's failure. I've discovered what can best be described as a disruption in the natural flow of the life stream in this region. I've yet to ascertain the cause of this disruption, but I believe you may be able to help me do so by conducting field investigations in areas which I have yet to determine. But as soon as I do, I will tell you. Right. Let me hand this crystal back to you. Change of plans. You give it over to Geralt. He needs it to do what he does best. Level 70 antiquated gear and weapons may be enhanced by Geralt should you possess sufficient protean crystals. Lockboxes obtained in the Forbidden Land, Eureka, can be opened by an expedition lockpick in Port Sergei, or by Reganati in Kugane, and may yield a variety of items. You may continue the Eureka expedition upon reaching elemental level 3. Okay, so we didn't get any experience out of that, but let's see Geralt real quick. Settled in, are you? Good for you. I'd like nothing more than to board the first boat back to Eorzea, but no use pinning the liberation what ain't about to come. This dental mine keep me shackled to this place for the foreseeable future, I reckon. Hey, Road, you got that protean crystal I've been waiting for. Good. Aye, this'll do. Though I'll need more than just one, and I'll only be able to work with weapons or gear of the sort as made the practitioners of certain powerful arts. But I'll work like a dog if I have to, for your sake and mine, and then we can both bugger off this bloody rock and go somewhere every living thing ain't trying to kill us. Alright, you may now create and augment Eureka gear and arms. To begin, You will need to provide Geralt with the requisite level 70 antiquated items and protean crystals. Alright, so let's see what he's got here. So what'll it be? Arms or armor? So what we can do... Let's take a look at this. Love to oblige you, but horde of protean crystals won't suffice if I'm to cobble together something truly astounding. And besides, you haven't even got a suitable arm for me to work with. Maybe set your sights a little lower before shooting for the stars, eh? To proceed, you must first acquire Gallatin +2 and Everlatch +2 to augment. Alright, so then what about this? Okay, so this is looking at the requirements, and it looks like for the sword and shield, it's going to require 100 protean crystals. To get to +1 is 400 crystals, and then another 800 crystals for +2. And as you can see, each time the item level is going up here. But once again, like I said before, the gear that you get out of this place is not the highest item level. The highest item level is always going to come from the high-end Savage raids. No question about that. That's just how the game was designed. But for the player that doesn't want to do high-end raids, then this is an alternative for you if you want to work towards getting new gear. Even though it's not going to be as powerful, it'll still be much more powerful in the end than what you would typically get from just questing around. Alright, so, before we do anything else here, we'll look at that in just a moment. I do want to level up to level 2 here real quick. We are just about there. Looks like we're going to need 2 or 3 more kills here to finish leveling up to level 2. This is looking like this will be the last one. we go. Elemental level 2. So now the question is, does that just instantly give me an extra magicite? No, so it does not. So that is still something that I would need to find eventually here. Alright, let us speak to the lockpick over here. Alright, so we don't have any lockboxes currently. Simply put, if you find any lockboxes during your expedition of Eureka, I have the tools and the skills to open them up. Just ask. Lockboxes obtained in the Forbidden Land Eureka can be opened... Okay, we already heard about that one. Lockboxes may yield a variety of items, including mounts, minions, and materia. Alright. And so... that was pretty much just a quick introduction of the Eureka area. And like I said before, pretty soon I'll be starting up chill streams. Not tonight though, but in the very near future I'll be starting them up. And this is one of the pieces of content that we'll be going through whenever I do those. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you want to check out the Discord, the link for that is available on the main channel page or in the description below. If you did enjoy today's content, please do make sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified whenever I go live. And thank you for joining me today. This is PrinceBrightstar signing off. I'll catch you next time.